Good morning and welcome back to LipOut with Latona. I almost forgot my last name for a minute. I am your host, Stacy Latona, and I am thrilled to have this guest today. Honored, actually, honored. Miss Renee Walker from Renee Walker and Associates. Thank you for coming on, first and
Thank you for
foremost,
having
Renee.
me. I'm so excited to join you.
I know we had such a great, I'm going to give your background for a second. We had such a great, the first time we met via Zoom conversation. If I had recorded that. So I'm kind of glad it's been a little bit because I want to kind of talk about some of that stuff and let everybody hear about it. It would be like I'm hearing it for the first time again, which is great. So Renee's crazy. Renee Walker and Associates, right? Brand marketing communications expert, entrepreneur, political pundit, speaker, and an author. Her resume just goes on and on and on. So I'm going to give you a little bit more of it. Worked in the private, public, and nonprofit sector for over 3 decades. Central Michigan was the associate vice president of university communications. Kelly Services, manager of corporate public relations, and executive assistant to the mayor, Dennis Archer, for 8 years, which as chief of protocol, I mean, that's a stressful job right there.
But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
I I have met Mr. Archer through
hmm
golf because he sits on he's the head of our like volunteer committee for the Rocket Mortgage Classic, and he's just the most wonderful
hmm
man. So I can
hmm
imagine what it would be like. He's just an absolute class act. So I had the ability to golf together the other day, and we are golfing together again at the National Association, right, of Women's Business
Yes.
Owners
Greater Detroit
on
chapter.
Monday.
Yep.
Yeah, and thank you for inviting me and making me aware of it in general. I cannot wait to do it. So tell me first, let's back up to your golf career. When did you get started? When did you know it was going to be very important to your future in career in general? Or did it not matter to you and you're just like, no, I love golf, I'm
Well,
golfing? Or did that play a
it's an
role?
interesting story. So first and foremost, it was because of my time in the archery administration. A lot of my colleagues had golfed for years, either from high school or in college, and as they began their professional careers. And at that point in my life, I was actually a tennis player. And so, after being in the archery administration and then returning to my corporate roots, once our administration concluded, I decided that for no other reason than business reasons, I should at least learn the sport so that I could actually continue to advance my career. And so, I never, in my wildest imagination, thought that I would become just enthralled and so much in love and passionate about this sport. For me, initially, it was really, I'm going to take this ball and hit it to a spot that I can't even see. And yeah, really?
Like,
What?
what? By the way, she is so good and so annoyingly consistent. I was like, well, I get nervous every time I play with somebody new. I told you that. And you even said you're like your body language, like you're like tense. And then as soon as I turn the music on, things got a little bit better for
Mhm.
me. But it's true. I get, and you had your position. You know what you're doing. Even when I was paying attention to you, girl. Even when you were putting, she's like, okay, all right, boom, and you've got it. So I wish I had that kind of like calmness of mind. So tell us more how you even get it, how you keep going,
Okay,
girl.
so let me
Go
just put
on.
a pin there and say this.
Yeah.
You are actually really good yourself. You're just starting,
Oh,
so
so
it
sweet.
feels more mechanical to you, but you absolutely have the
Yeah.
chops to be a great golfer. There's just no question about it. And
Thank you. I've been doing it longer than I should,
no,
but
I mean,
but thank you for saying
like
that.
I
I
always
appreciate
remind
it.
folks
I
that this
care.
is not my day job, right? I hang out with a
Right.
lot of ladies who are far better than I am in terms of golf. I learn a lot from them, but I also recognize that the business application for golf is just really huge. It was
Yes.
helpful when I was still, before I started my company, throughout my executive career, being able to participate, particularly as women. Golf is still very much a male dominated sport. We continue
Mm-hmm.
to work to try and change that and to change some of the perceptions about women in golf. And I'd love to talk a little bit more about that. But in terms of
Yes.
nervousness, everyone's nervous. Like So, I mean, it just is.
Everybody
Right.
cares.
And for women, it's particularly the case because oftentimes we're paired with men. And like I said, you go into it not necessarily knowing kind of what kind of vibe they're going to have or whatever. I mean, my girlfriends and I have been paired with guys who were great. And we had a really good round. And then we've been paired with some gentlemen that honestly, the round could have been better, but it just didn't go well because of the way they sort of reacted to us, right? Being paired with them.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Yes, so we had, and that's kind of one of the stories too. I would love to talk about a little bit more in depth, but yes, well, let's talk for a second. Let's break for 1 second and talk about that because I was talking about when I step on a course, there is not just that intimidation factor in general because you're there and you want to play well, but because you walk up and it's usually old white men, and quite frankly, it kind of was the case the other day and those guys in particular always rub me the wrong way. I don't like the way they treat me when I walk up as a woman in general. But tell us about that story that you have. I think it was in Florida. It was you and like 5 girlfriends.
Oh my gosh, good memory. So yeah, it was myself and 2 of my girlfriends had gone to Reunion Resort in Florida. And our 4th wasn't able to make it at the last minute. And so we were playing LPGA National. So we had checked in with the starter. We went to do some, putting our pre kind of round routine. And then we came back just before it was time for us to tee off. And the starter literally looks at us and says, "You guys don't mind, if the guy over there joins you, right?" We're like, "Oh no. Okay, sure." Because, golf courses really do try and put foursomes out. We get it. But the course wasn't super busy. So we figured, okay, we'll play a few holes. If it doesn't work out, he can just go play ahead of us. We'll let him play through, whatever, and just kind of keep it moving.
Right.
But unfortunately, he, for the first 3 to 4 holes, really did not show us the proper golf etiquette, walking in our lines, moving while we were swinging. I mean, it was just this whole...
Even I know not that. I mean, every once in a while I make a mistake, but
I mean, it's like
how rude.
It was just really bizarre. And it was like around the 4th or the 5th hole that he realized that we were not necessarily 9-holers, which I'm not using that in a judgment way, but, we were actually golfers. And so the rest of the round became pretty interesting because, again, it gets back to that tension in your body. So he wanted to outdrive us, out this, out that, whatever. And his game continued to deteriorate, as did his attitude. And so it just wasn't a really good experience. So one of the things that when I have the opportunity to talk to, golf course managers or owners or whatever, I really try to press upon them that you have to be more thoughtful when you're pairing women and men, particularly on public courses, right? Because you want everybody to have a good experience. And for us, that's not necessarily always a good experience, right? We're out just to have a good time and to golf and, to continue to improve our game and whatnot and enjoy one another. And, that dynamic can sometimes derail that.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm a 9-holer. I play 18 when forced to play 18, but I'm like, I'm rounding that 9. I'm like, when it's 94 degrees, like the other day, I'm like, I'm good. I'm happy. And we ended up playing 18. But sometimes, though, you don't start to get your rhythm, which is true, until the back 9. So that can kind of, kind of help with it. That is a very interesting story. I think what's interesting in regards to the mental game, which I think you have mastered, that I clearly have not. I've got so much going on in my head when I step up to tee off or anytime I just get ready to hit the ball. But that gentleman, and one of the things just normal when they say sports psychology, it's like you're playing your game. You're not playing against other people. And as soon as you start worrying about everyone else, you're giving them your energy and they start to play better and you start to play worse. I know this to be true, and I do it all the time. I do it all the time.
So what I will say based on the time we had together the other day is that again, when I finally said, okay, like you have too much tension in your body, like let go and just hit the ball. I mean, you started to crush it, right? You knew you could.
I was driving better than I ever have. All of a sudden, I don't know what's happening. Like my drives are going so much far when they straighten out, because I'm having some issues, and I didn't yesterday. I played and I was hitting pretty straight, but something's happening. My drives are going farther than they've ever gone, so that's a good sign.
Oh, it's amazing. And so what I would say is, you really, there are lots of schools of thoughts about swing thoughts and whatnot. For me, what works is that I try to have already figured out the shot I want to hit before I hit the tee box. And then once I set up, my only swing thought is to swing. Because I have a tendency to decelerate into my ball, and then I don't like the outcome. So the only thing I'm thinking at that point is swing. I'm not trying to figure out how to take the club back. I'm not trying to do all that. I've already sort of figured out what club I want to hit and basically the general area I want to attempt to land it. And so the only thought I have once I'm over the ball is swing.
And you did hit it where you wanted to every single time. Well, it was good. Let me tell you, my one lovely moment was we had a guy, and this is the interesting thing to me as well with golf, and we golfed with some great people. They were amazing. It was the mishmash posh of all of us, right? None of us had ever played together, before. And he was a one-handed putter.
Yes.
And he said he only does it in certain spots. So I was like, I want to try this. And what was I, 20 feet out, maybe even farther? And I literally, now it didn't go in, it lipped out. But that's okay, because it's LipOut. It's LipOut with Latona. But I used one hand, and I was across. I mean, it was crazy, and I literally hit it. So I guess, and the other thing, even with his swing, he hit it different than anyone I've ever seen. He had this little kind of like giddy up, I call it, in his leg when he hit it, and it was really low. It did not pop up, but it was straight and it was far, which who cares? Who cares? It doesn't matter. And he crushed it. And, that's a great example of everybody's got something they're going to tell you, and I take all the advice I can get. But at the end of the day, you need to figure out your stuff and then go with it.
Absolutely. So like on that point,
right?
A couple years ago, I got a new bag and new clubs. And if I can ever remember who told me this, I certainly have some words for them.
Is this good or bad?
Well, they advised me to take my lob wedge out of my bag. And they were like, you don't need a lob wedge. And I swear I can't think of who this is. And one day I hope it does pop back in.
Don't you love when people are telling you?
And I was like,
oh,
okay. So I literally took it out of my bag for like 2.5 years, basically. And recently I put it back in. And now I'm chipping in a way that I had not been able to chip with any of the other clubs that I was carrying. Right. And so to your point, you take all the advice, but then vet it and make sure it works for you.
I'm noticing that my hybrids, which I used to like because I could hit it farther, I actually have a better swing, loft, all that stuff with an iron. And I don't have a 5-iron because they now come for women's clubs, a lot of them in hybrids. Now I'm like, now I have to go out and buy one of those. Like that's the thing. Nonstop. There's always something to do. So I guess if you have, one of the things I wanted to I always like to give little tidbits of like cool things to have. Maybe like what's your favorite thing. So when I had Misty White was on, and you met Misty. She's a great golfer. So she had told me about this little, the ball marker that she has on her hat. So I bought that and I keep losing it. Well, my new favorite little thing, see, I've got props.
I love it.
My new favorite thing is on your, on your glove. And I kind of speak as if, to somebody that has never ever golfed, whatever. And this is, magnetic and it's right on your glove. So you have it. So I'm always trying to look like I know what I'm doing, whether I do or not. And dress the part. But that's my little favorite things. Do you have anything like, besides the loft wedge? What are some of the things that are little things that you just like love and you cannot be on the course without?
Oh, good question. Give me a second. So I would say, and it's not always permissible. We were in a scramble, so it wasn't like, tournament golf. But I like to have music on the course, not because I want it loud and to disturb other folks in my foursome or on the course, but I do really do enjoy because, you're going to be out there 3.5, 4, half, 5, sometimes 5 hours. And it's just
Yeah.
nice to, be able to have the music. So that would be one thing that I would
Hmm.
really like
Hmm.
say, yeah, I want to do that. But when you're in
Yeah.
tournament play, it's not permissible. So when we play in tournaments, then I don't have that, and I do miss it. So that would be my thing. And now, in terms of golf equipment,
Mm.
I think that really having a really great pair of shoes that are comfortable are
Mm.
are probably my
Yeah.
go-to. So I have a collection of golf shoes, depending on where I'm playing, weather conditions, and the like. But I have
Yeah.
some that are just super comfortable. And so if I need to do 18 or walk 18, or I'm playing more than 18 in one day, I know that I'm going to be comfortable the entire day if I have those particular shoes. So that for me, that's important.
That's it. That's great advice. I will tell you, I did just buy a pair of new, another stylish shoe, G4, and inside they're super comfortable. Once you break out the outside, you got to get broken in a little bit, but the inside of those
Mm-hmm.
shoes, and they look like Valentine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're
Mm-hmm.
really nice shoes, which actually brings me to my next question that I must ask every woman, who is on Lip Out. We haven't had a man yet, but I'm going to have a man on at some point because we need the perspective. We're certainly open
Mm-hmm.
to that, and there's a lot of great guys that
Mm-hmm.
are fantastic to golf with. Would you agree that there is a lack of fashion in women's golf apparel?
Oh,
What are your thoughts on that?
absolutely. I've written about this. I've talked about this. I've had conversations with executives from major golf brands. It's astounding that in this point in time that the golf industry still doesn't fully appreciate the market
Mm-hmm.
that we bring them, right? And that they don't capitalize on, which is why I'm so
My
excited
closet.
about the line that you're creating.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thank
There are
you.
not enough options. We don't really want to look like men. Like, no, like we don't take a men's shirt and then just kind of curve it a little bit or,
I know.
right?
It's so frustrating. There's a couple schools of thought on all of this. Like number one, my closet is full and I golf a lot, but not like we need a different outfit for every round. There's that. And I'm not saying the brand is going to be for every single person, but what I wanted to do is a couple of things. It's almost like it's a movement about getting more women because if you are confident in what you're wearing and you like what you are wearing, you will play better because you feel
Mm-hmm.
better when you're out there. And I think confidence is sexy. So when I'm talking about sexy, I'm not talking about something that's not classy, something that's not
Mm-hmm.
sporty, and has number
Mm-hmm.
one, a fashion element
Mm-hmm.
to it, but also that brings you confidence, which will bring, if that's what, you want, whatever you want to get out of it. Sexy is different for everybody. But I don't like that men are making those decisions in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
ways. One, because traditionally every single, and I think this will be different about our brand, is that every single, I mean, this is being made for women by a
Mm-hmm.
woman. And most brands start out making men's things and then they switch over and they start doing
Mm-hmm.
women's. And so things are a little bit different. I think things are slightly better, but here's what's very interesting. The conservative nature of it too. I don't like when I think in terms of like you could be a B cup or you could be a double
Mm-hmm.
D and the same shirt is going to look a little more whatever. I don't know. I don't even want to use the wrong word here because I don't like it. But
Mm-hmm.
more form
Mm-hmm.
fitting, therefore could look a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
non-conservative. I'll put it that
Mm-hmm.
way, right? So I was with my girlfriend, who's probably going to be annoyed that I'm bringing this up to her. Wore an extra long skirt, which I hate doing because it was a more conservative club, and I had a man's shirt. I'm going to show you the picture of it because I don't know if I'm going to be able to see if I can do it. See that?
Mm-hmm.
That's the top
Mm-hmm.
of it. So very mannish,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't like
Mm-hmm.
either because it's like, now there's no cleavage
Mm-hmm.
showing at
Mm-hmm.
all. That was very conservative for me. It's not that I'm out there, whatever, but I was like, oh, and she's like, can you button the bottom button? I go, don't be buying into that crap. I am not buttoning the bottom button. Is somebody going to tell me that I cannot play on this course because I choose to have my fashion in a slightly different way? I was very offended.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and her and I talked about it, and we have a great relationship that we kind of talk through it. But that's the conditioning that I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point that I'm trying to make. If that's what you choose to wear, that's fine. And I think every club has protocol, and they have the right to have that protocol. But my issue is that the women have the money. They're also contributing to the membership at the country clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And I love country clubs,
Mm-hmm.
and they're great. And
Mm-hmm.
everything needs to be respectful, but also let's not forget that Serena Williams changed what people were wearing on the tennis court. And ladies at those clubs, you are wearing those skirts at the tennis court, and then you can't wear them
Mm-hmm.
on the golf.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no
Mm-hmm.
sense,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's so antiquated, right? So one, the industry doesn't recognize how much money we actually spend. There was a study done, oh God, maybe 8 years ago now, give or take, where they didn't even look at a subset of minority women golfers, but they basically said, okay, given who we're looking at, women spend about $900 million a year in golf, right? From
Right.
rounds and equipment and clothing and accessories and whatnot. And that's not a number to sneeze at. Like, I mean, that's some real dollars.
No.
And they just,
I just
don't,
want 17.
right?
I just want 17 million of it.
They
Maybe
just
all of it,
don't, they don't, they keep saying
Right.
they want to grow the game. Well, we're the growth of the game, right?
Yes, and that's what I'm talking about. It's like it's a movement. It isn't
Mhm.
just this brand. It's a movement of women more, so that we're playing more. That younger women are getting
Mhm.
into it, so they can compete in a way, whether it be on the LPGA, but also competing in the business world, but also the dollars. If it's just like anything. I mean, the automotive. I mean, I can't even believe it's 2022 and we're having this conversation. The automotive world started to get it. Back in the day, I remember when Cadillac had this great commercial, and the woman was driving this Cadillac, and it made an imprint on me, right? And it was maybe 20 years ago, and she was driving, and first you couldn't tell it was a her. It was a tennis shoe on the gas pedal, and she stepped out and took her tennis shoe off, and put the heel on, sexy heel, and I thought, oh, empowering. You know what I mean? I was like, that's
Absolutely.
right. So they got it. I don't understand why the golf industry. Well, they're about.
Well,
to.
they are, and I literally just had this situation come up the other night where I was like advocating that there is a market for women who golf and who golf competitively, right? And would make a great addition to the organization. And literally, the pushback I received was astonishing. So much so, well, I don't like one guy literally said, I don't think you're right about that. I talked to some women and they don't see it that way. So my response was, so let me get this straight. So because you haven't had an opportunity, like, first of all, you know me. So you know that what I'm saying is true because I'm representing that.
Yeah.
But that being said, because you don't personally have a network of women who play competitively, then therefore they must not exist. Right.
Nice. Yeah. And what was his response?
Right. But my point just is we have to advocate for each other. We have to advocate to not allow the status quo to be the status quo. It's not about having a seat at the table. We're spending dollars. Our memberships cost as much as everybody else's memberships cost. And we should expect to receive the same amenities and the same service and opportunity and experience. And that is something that I think there are pockets within the golf industry who are starting to say, hey, we need to be more mindful and purposeful in how we do this. But I'm going to tell you, I have been in boardrooms. I have been in meetings where I've been the only female and or person of color. And the guys start talking about, hey, it's a great day. Too bad we're not on the golf course. Yeah, let's play around. And I chime in and say, when are we playing? Right.
But they're not thinking. Do you think they're probably not thinking of you?
100%.
Because I literally still have moments, and I understand sometimes you want to play someone that's in the same caliber and it goes faster for them or whatever. I mean, like I said, I don't have a problem picking up my ball. I get that. On occasion, it's a guy's day. The women are the same. We want to play with women too sometimes, just women. But it's annoying when you are the last person. Well, it's annoying when you actually are with other women that play better and you're still the last one thought of. But it's challenging, and I love that. So did you end up playing?
They tabled the conversation, right? So then I said, well, I'm happy to host you at my club.
Oh, I love that. Bam.
So, you want to play?
Yeah, because you're a member. Yeah, you got. Yeah. Oh, that is. Oh my gosh, that is the best. Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. And that's what it's going to take. And I think it's conversations like this too. So I cannot thank you enough. Just also for your friendship. I'm thrilled that we met and we're getting a chance to hang out
Mm-hmm.
again this week
Mm-hmm.
already. And I just learned so much. And so inspired by women like you, and you're a trailblazer, obviously, in so many different ways. But you encourage me in my golf game. And do you have anything like tidbit you want to leave from an encouragement standpoint, or some tip for new female golfers? And then
Absolutely.
we'll wrap it up.
Absolutely. First of all, ditto, same here. I'm excited to be able to know you and to play with you. And I'm looking forward to the launch of your fabulous line because I'm certainly going to help you promote it. There's no question about that.
Thank you.
What
Thank
I
you.
would say, and I've written about this in golf publications and whatnot, is that for women, you never have to love the sport. But you should, for the purposes of building your career and creating opportunities for your business, you should become familiar enough with golf etiquette to be able to play in a scramble and to be able to participate. And here's the reason. There is no, whether you're a business owner or you're a professional person looking to become an executive or whatnot, wherever you want to take your career, you will never have an opportunity to spend 3 to 5 hours with someone to build a relationship with. Gatekeepers won't allow it. Right. You can't do a presentation that long. You can't have those conversations, but you can on the golf course. And I can tell you from my personal experience that I have met some wonderful people and they have referred business to me. They have become clients as well. And it's just a great community. Even though we still have some things to work on, it's still a great community. So if you never love the sport, that's okay. But you should absolutely make the investment as part of your toolkit to move your business and your career forward.
I love that. That was amazing advice. And I think we have to work on at some point. My hope is that once I get LipOut off the ground shortly, that I want to have an event sponsored by LipOut where we actually, every women that have golfed before, bring 2 women that have never golfed. And we get on a course. It can be 9 holes. We've got the whole day, and we get people comfortable out there so we can double the game or players right there in an afternoon, by getting them on the course, whether you've ever picked up a club or not. It'll be a long day, but it's okay.
Absolutely. Anyway, that's one of the things that NABO, the National Association of Women Business Owners Greater Detroit chapter, in the event that they're holding on Monday, they actually have a beginner golf clinic. So there's something for everybody, right? So those of us who, are a little more experienced, we can play. There's an actual opportunity for beginner golfers or people who are interested in trying the sport to come out as well. And we need to do more of that, right? Because you're right. Yes. You need to be comfortable on the course. There are a lot of programs that, and I highly advise that you take lessons, but there are a lot of programs that allow you to become familiar with etiquette and get you on the course so that you're far more comfortable and confident when you're out there. But yeah, I think more of those kinds of things are really, really important, or even offering a clinic. I mean, when I started learning how to play, the pro that was my instructor created a program called Think Golf It's Friday. So after work on Friday, we would go to his golf course and he and his staff would give us instruction for about an hour. And then they took us actually out on the course so that we could start to learn the etiquette and whatnot. And so I think programs like that are needed to get more women comfortable to go out. But at the end of the day, it's an investment in your career. It's an investment in your business. And what they say is true. 100%. The relationships you make on the golf course have a whole lot to do with your ability for access to higher ups, to decision makers, as well as to build those relationships so that you can, because people do business and promote people that they know, like, and whatnot. You already know you have the skill set. So why not add the additional tools to your toolkit?
Right. Oh, so well said. So well said. Well, thank you so much, Renee Walker, for joining me on LipOut with Latona. my little thing that I've got going on here. I gotta do some more exciting. I keep more and more. I'm like, I gotta make sure I'm getting this out there more and more and more because it's just kind of a fun thing for me. But I'm like, you know what? This stuff
Mm-hmm.
matters. It
Mm-hmm.
matters, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So thank you. And for anyone that's watched this time, please like it, subscribe. There'll be more things coming up with fabulous guests like this. And we just can't thank you enough. Or thanks for checking in with Lip Out with Latona.